We really dominated that sphere. Now we were way behind China and Russia, and now we dominate. Space Force turned out to be a very important thing. I said from the beginning, when Biden came into office, he wanted to terminate, he said, and distinct crawl space for us, so we could get rid of that. And he got hammered by the people in this room for even suggesting it, because it's very important. One of the most important. And as time goes by, it'll get more and more important. But we're now at 106% of our recruiting targets for the year. And that's the best in far more than a generation. And for the Marines, morale is so strong that the Marine Corps will meet its 2026 retention targets before the end of October, which never happens. And that's the earliest it's ever happened in the history of our country. And it makes you feel good. I felt guilty. I go make a speech in front of never people like you. You are the leaders, but people, soldiers. And I felt embarrassed because it'd be stories about, we couldn't fill up our army, navy, air. We couldn't fill them up. And it was headlines. It was during Biden's 4 years. The autopin. I call him the autopen. How would you like to have your thing signed by an autopen? When I have a general, and I have to sign for a general because we have beautiful paper, that gorgeous paper, I said, throw a little more gold on it. And when you do, the President of the United States assigns your commission, as you know. And that commission is beautifully displayed. And I sign it, actually. I love my signature. I really do. Everybody loves my signature, but I sign it very proudly. And I always think to myself, how can you have an auto pen? Sign this. It's just so disrespectful to me. It's just totally disrespectful. And it turned out that almost everything he did was signed by auto pen, except for what he gave his son, Hunter, pardon. He signed that one. And that's actually the worst signature I've ever seen. That was a bit. The auto pen looks much better. But as leaders, commitment to every patriot who put on the uniform is to ensure that American military remains the most lethal and dominant on the planet. Not merely for a few years, but for the decades and generations to come. For centuries, we must be so strong that no nation will dare challenge us, so powerful that no enemy will dare threaten us, and so capable that no adversary can even think about beating us. And we've had it. Recently, India and Pakistan were going at it, and I called them both. And in this case, I used trade. I'm not going to trade with you used to nuclear nations, big nuclear. No, 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 you cannot do that. I said, yes, I can. You go into this frickin' war that I'm hearing about. Actually, they just shut down 7 planes. 7 planes. It was starting because a lot of bad blood. And I said, you do. This was not going to be any trade. And I stopped the war. It was going to be raging for 4 days. But that was just the beginning. And we stopped. It was a great thing. And the Prime Minister of Pakistan was here, along with the Field Marshal, who's a very important guy in Pakistan. And he was here 3 days ago, and I didn't even realize it, as beautiful as he said it. But he said that to a group of people that were with us. 2 generals, but a group. He said this man saved millions of lives because he saved the war from going on. And that all was going to get very bad, very, very bad. President Trump saved millions and millions of lives. That was a bad war. And I was very honored. I loved the way he said it. Susie Wells was there. She said that was the most beautiful thing. But we saved a lot of lives, saved a lot of them. Even in Africa, we saved the Congo with Rwanda. They've been fighting for 31 years. 10 million people dead. I got that one done, and very proud of it. And if we can solve wars, and said you having to fight wars, wouldn't that be wonderful? Wouldn't that be wonderful? Sway. One of the first executive orders I signed to taking office was to restore the principle of merit. That's the most important word other than the word tariff. I love tariffs, Most beautiful word, but I'm not allowed to say that anymore. I said, tariff is my favourite word. I love the word tariff. You know what becoming rich is? How we have a big case in front of the Supreme Court. But I can't imagine because this is what other nations have done to us. And do we have, great legal grandeur? But you still have a case of be very bad. Something happened. But I said my favourite word in the English dictionary is the word tariff. And people thought that was strange. And the fake news came over and they really hit me hard on it. They said, what about love? What about religion? What about God? What about wife? Family? I got killed when I said tariff is my favourite word, so I change. It's now my 5th favourite word, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. But they hit me hard. But it is. I mean, when you look at we've taken in trillions of dollars, we're rich again, and they'll never be when we finish this out. There'll never be any wealth like what we have. Other countries were taking advantage of us for years and years. You know that better than anybody. And now we're treating them fairly. But the money coming in is we've never seen anything like it. The other day they had 31 billion that they found true. $10 billion or so. We found $31 billion. And we're not sure from where it came. A gentleman came in, a financial guy. I said, well, what does that mean? I said, we don't know where it came. I said, check the tariff shelf. No, sir, the tariffs haven't started in that sector yet. I said, yes, they have. They started 7 weeks ago. Check. It goes back 20 minutes. They say you're right. It came from tariffs. 31 billion. That's enough to buy a lot of battleships, Admiral. To use an old term, I think we should maybe start thinking about battleships. By the way, you know we have a Secretary of the Navy. He came to me because I look at the Iowa out in California, and I look at different ships in the old pictures. I used to watch Victory at Sea. I love Victory, I see. Look at these admirals. It's got to be your all-time for it, black and white. And I look at those ships. They came with the destroyers alongside of him and meant nothing was going to start. There were 20 deep, and they were in a straight line, and there was nothing going to stop them. And we actually talk about, those ships. Some people would say, no, that's old technology. I don't know. I don't think it's old technology when you look at those guns. But it's something we're actually considering. The concept of battleship. They 6-inch sides solid steel, not aluminum. Aluminum that melts if it looks at a missile coming at it, so it's melting as the missile's about 2 miles away. Now those ships, they don't make them that way anymore, but you look at it and your secretary likes it, and I'm sort of open to it. And bullets are a lot less expensive than missiles. A lot of reasons I should take a vote, but I'm afraid to take that vote because I may get voted out on that one. But I tell you, it's something we're seriously considering here. There were powers that were big. Powers were just about as mean and scary as you could be. And so we'll look into that. One of the biggest cases that we won was the decision of the United States Supreme Court to allow us to proceed on the word merit. Merit. So those 2 words are right up there. So this is, I would say, the opposite. If you ask for a definition and the opposite of political correctness, we went through political correctness where you had to have people that were totally unfit to be doing what you're doing. For many reasons I won't get into, but for many reasons they were unfit. Now it's all based on merit. That was such an unbelievable decision. I didn't expect we were going to win that one. We went in. We said we need it. We went in for colleges. Where kids with a C average are getting into the best colleges, and the kids with averages won't get in. And kids with the highest boards and highest marks and the best marks couldn't get into the best schools, and people that had not good boards and not very good marks. I mean, okay, but nothing special. They were getting into a best college. As I said, this is just crazy. We can't run. You can't run a country like this. And it was lingering for years. And it got to the Supreme Court, and we won that decision. Merit. Everything's based on merit. You're all based on man. We're not going to have somebody taking your place for political reasons because they are politically correct, and you're not. We take the people that are going to do the best job. And so it's very simple. And that's the way our country was built. We were built on merit. We got away from it for a long time, and everyone understands it. And it was done. It was approved. I give great credit to the Supreme Court, because I thought they had tremendous courage.